Adding on to that conversation though, targets.
That's correct.
So why couldn't you look at including housing stocks, excuse me, of things like studio units that could rent at 80% AMR and integrate that into the unit? I don't understand.
Yeah, no, we're happy to build more density on the site, and that that will be part of our conversation.
But let's be clear here. I'm not talking about increased height to get the density. I'm talking about changing your unit mix.
So specifically with the smaller units, that is something we'll look at when we look at demand for what's going to be rented in the market. But we also have a target demographic that we like to hit. And that demographic often includes young professionals and seniors. And young professionals and seniors aren't necessarily looking for those smaller units. Obviously there is a time and place for small units, and we will certainly be looking at a number of those in this development. But we also think there is a demand for the larger units and that we can supply.
Okay, and Councillor Budley.
Thank you. Through your Mayor Jaworski. How long have you owned this property?
It's a year and a little bit.
Okay, so when you acquired the property, I guess my question is, what makes you, what drives you on this property beyond the balance sheet stuff? What makes you think that this property is appropriate for the amount of density that you're intending to put on it? And the types of housing that's going to be there. Why are you so jazzed about this project? Yeah. Sorry, Councillor Rask, I stole your jazzed.
So a number of things. The first one is its location. We think it's a great location. We think it's close to downtown, close to the LRT, close to the park, close to the recreation center. It's on 2 regional roads, so there's great access to the site. And there's a core of services that already exist on the site. Grocery store, the drugstore, the bank, the restaurants. So we think it's a place that is underutilized from a residential perspective, and we think by providing residential units on the site, they can build some excitement in the site and the existing retail experience on the site, but also bring public space to the site. The second component about, sorry, if your question about the why right, sorry, yeah. So when we purchased the property, we looked at the existing planning in place, the existing policy in place, as well as the existing zoning. And so that was part of why we bought the site, because the site had significant both minimum and maximum density for the site, as well as significant height across the site. And so that was a big part of why we purchased it, because we thought, okay, well, the city has obviously gone through a process and developed this policy and put this policy in place and put the updated land use bylaw in place to allow for the density that we're contemplating. And so from our perspective, to know that we're working with a city who's already gone through that process and has established that this is a place for significant growth, that's really positive to us, because we know we're coming into a place that can that has done that work, that legwork beforehand.
Thanks. And do you have another question?
The best solution for us as a developer and a residential landlord, but also what's best for you as a community. And we think the best design solution is the one we've proposed.
But balance sheet wise,
yeah.
You don't think it makes sense. You wouldn't look at this if it were to be denied and say, well, we'll build what's there on urban, we'll leave the plaza. You would look at it balance sheet wise and say, we're going to build that density down below.
I suspect so. I don't know without doing that analysis. Yeah.
And last call, Councillor Vasek.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. So nice you let me have one more question. Okay, you mentioned that you wanted to make it look really beautiful, and I'm just looking at this picture right now, and I'm also not commenting on design, really. I'm just trying to understand building products and you wanting it to look beautiful. And this looks like, this is considered prefab, right?
It's precast concrete, this building is, yeah.
And is that considered good design then? That matches with what you're talking about is
Yeah.
good design?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a question for your staff and for our design team. But if you look through the projects that Carrie presented, there are a number of design qualities in there, and it's a mix of different typologies and different building construction methodologies that we utilize.
Okay, seeing no further questions, thank you.
The immediate surroundings and the site itself.